The new Telum from Ecomobl is an absolute monster. Yo, what's up? Gabby here from Ray Studios. If you're new to the channel, please, I'll invite you to subscribe and be a part of this family. If you've never seen any of my videos, I review a lot of tech and PEVs like this one right here. Okay, so this is kind of new for me. This is a true off-road mountain board. So I have viewed a lot of skates, around like 40, 50 skates, already lost count. But even so, I reviewed some all-terrain 2-in-1 skateboards. This is the first one that is supposed to be specifically for off-roading. So it's kind of new to me, and if it's new to you as well, we are learning together here. You might be able to learn a few things. So as you can see, this is absolutely huge. Let me check here the weight. I have bad memory, but yeah. The weight is 39 pounds, so very heavy for an electric skateboard. And the dimensions is 45 inches by 18 inches by 18 inches of clearance. They can have a range of 38 to 50. I got somewhere around 30. And the max speed, it is somewhere around 50 kilometers per hour. And that's probably true. I didn't go quite there yet, but close enough. The other thing that is pretty impressive here is the payload. So it can take up to a 300 pounds rider. And I'm already pretty heavy. I'm 220 pounds. Yeah, and it feels like it can take maybe another me. So you can take like two of me. So yeah, it's very strong, very sturdy. And then the charging time with included charger is somewhere around 4 hours. So it's a 4-amp charger. That is pretty decent. And then the wheel size is 9 inches. So you can see these wheels are really, really big. And this is a pro and a con at the same time. I'll talk to you about that in just a second. First, let's talk about the overall design. So it looks like it's carbon fiber. I'm not sure what material they use. It might be actually carbon fiber, but it might be a composite of different materials since it's quite flexible. It's actually a little bit bouncy. So if you jump on it, it will bend quite a lot. Now we have everything on top. So the battery is on top. And the ESC is also here on top next to the rear motors. As you can see, the rear motors are not visible whatsoever because they're inside the wheel, but they're not hub motors. So if you are, familiarized with some electric skateboards, you know what a hub and maybe belt drive motor or gear drive motor is, but this is none of that. This is called planetary gear, and it's basically like a fancy word for hub motors, but it's working a little bit different. For that reason, well, you cannot really change the wheels unless you change for the honeycomb air wheels or something like that. So there are another kind of wheels from the company that they can provide to replace these wheels, but generally speaking, it's basically the same wheel. We have foot straps, so you can lock your foot into position, and that is because when you're doing off-road, you might be actually jumping. Also, the reason why the battery is on top is because you need a lot of clearance for going off-road. This is what this board is all about. Now, let's take a look at these tracks. Look at the board. The board is so big, like it's hard for me to kind of like move it around. And that's the reason why I have it on top of a bench, because it's any other way, I would be too tired to hold it up to show you. But you can see here the tracks are absolutely massive. And instead of having pushings, well, we have springs. So we have actual suspension in here. By the way, the tracks looks absolutely gorgeous. We have this red accent here. So they're reverse mounted, and yeah, we have suspension. Now, if you notice, the suspension here on the front, the blue, and the ones on the back, let's try not to break the house while I'm showing you, they're actually red. The reason why they're different colors, you may be asking, well, that's because they have different hardness. In my opinion, they're both very hard. I already talked to Ecomobl, and I recommend and suggest to them that they can maybe have some softer springs available. Like, there were actually harder springs available in the package for me to replace the blue ones for red ones, but yeah, like I said, I feel like these are already a little bit hard and a pretty heavy rider. We have a Samsung 40T battery. That's something I forgot to mention. So that's a pretty good when it comes to batteries. It's like a quality battery. And the motors are powerful, but they're just about okay. Like when I compare to something to my Atlas Pro, we're not even close. The Atlas Pro will definitely smoke this one. But it's not all about speed and performance, it's about going off-road. So, is it good going off-road? Yeah, actually it is. It is really good. It is a lot of fun, and it gives me a lot of confidence when going off-road. So, in comparison, when riding something like the aforementioned Atlas Pro, which is considered like one of the best 2-in-1 AT boards, while going off-road in some soft sand or in some places where there are big rocks, I'm not that confident. I might actually fall, and actually I did fall a few times. And also the rocks in the way, they will scratch the bottom of the board quite badly. Nothing happened, the board didn't break, but it gets scratched and it doesn't look nice. But it's not the case with this one. The tracks or the bottom of the board have never ever scratched against anything because there is so much clearance, and it's also the deck is slightly carved and they have these massive drop downs that if you decide to remove the straps, well, it's basically really comfortable and very easy to control going off-road with or without the straps. By the way, the straps can mounted like this. If you're planning on champing, going overseas and champ, well, that's the way you should have them. As a matter of fact, the first thing I did when it came, it was remove them and put them the other way around because I ride goofy. I wanted to put the original way to show you guys, but yeah, I have them that way and this way because I ride with my feet going into this direction, right? So it's the opposite direction, so it's not regular and goofy. Now the other thing is that you can also mount the straps slightly different than the way they came from the factory, and that is if you don't plan to champ and you just plan to ride, and especially if you plan to ride slightly faster than normal, well, I recommend to mount the strap in this other direction, which is basically parallel one from the other one, and that makes it a little bit more comfortable. And if you want even more comfort, just remove the straps altogether. I found it to be really good off-roading without the straps as well. It's just that you lose the ability to champ on any direction basically. Another pretty good thing that I like about this board are lights. So we have braking lights and we have front-facing lights. They're powerful enough to kind of illuminate a little bit the path in front of you, but they're not as powerful as, let's say, some of the third-party lights that you can buy for your electric skateboards, like the shred lights. But still, it's very cool to have them, and the way they mounted the light on the tracks and on the back on the ESC is actually very cool design. I like that. So the remote control is kind of like one of the cheapest remote control you can see on the ESK market. It's small, which is kind of nice. I like that the remotes are small, so they fit better on the hand. Doesn't take too much space on the pocket. But considering that the board costs $1,600, I would expect a slightly better remote control. Anyway, it does have an LCD screen with a lot of information that is pretty useful. You can manually adjust the speed. Let me see if I can do that. Hit it for the speed, and if you hold the brake and then you push the same button, you can adjust the brake intensity. Now, if you hold the reverse button, that's when you activate the lights. So let's take a look at these lights. Both in the front and on the back we have lights. So the rear light is constantly blinking unless you actually hold the brake, in which the light stops blinking and just continually lights. And if I let it go, that's what happened. So I tested this board in any possible conditions I could possibly have. I went into like soft sand, like a desert. I went up the mountain. I tested for speed. I tried to ride it on the city at night, during the day. I take it to the forest, and it's a very particular forest where there are a lot of rocks, and some of the rocks are as big as my head. So it was a little bit scary. So I hope you guys like this video for the effort that I'm doing to show you guys everything possible about this board. And yeah, it performs really good. It was the first time that I can actually skate in the forest, because with my previous e-skates, like the Atlas Hurricane, it's always scratching the back, and I have to basically abort. I cannot keep doing that. I'm breaking all my boards. So this is the only board that it can actually do it. Now, there is one issue that I cannot find with this board, and like I already mentioned, the tracks, even though they're huge and very long and with springs, well, carving on this board is kind of like good and bad. Like I can carve at very high speeds. That's because it's super stable. But when I try to carve in the city or go around people, go around cars, well, it's very difficult. So the turning ratio is actually bad. It's hard to turn, and that could be maybe because it's just an off-road board and it's not meant to be in the city, but nevertheless, it's something that maybe you might want to know, because you might just spend all your money on this e-skate and you might not have any more money to buy another e-skate for the city. So you might want to have the possibility to ride it in the mountain, in the desert, in the beach, but also in the city. So just something to consider. I believe that if they manage to get softer springs, so the suspension will be a little bit softer, it could be better. By the way, the springs can be regulated. I have it set to the softer possible. I still find it a little bit stiff, but other than that, it's pretty good. It's pretty good. It is very, very stable, so probably because the stiff tracks. But something that really surprised me, if I've been trying to teach my girlfriend how to ride e-skateboards, and she's still very afraid. And she wanted to try this one, and kind of like out of curiosity, and she loves it. And that's because it's just so stable. So it is very hard to turn. So as long as we don't have many turns on the way, or she can turn slowly, she actually really likes it. I mean, when she stands on it and she feels like it's standing on the floor, it's that kind of stability that you get from this board. And it's also something that it gets a lot of attention. First, it's noisy. The motors wire up like pretty loud, and also it's absolutely massive. So wherever you go, you're gonna get a lot of compliments. They're gonna be like, wow, cool, look at that, what is this? But at the same time, you have the problem of us being huge, which is hard to put it on the car, hard to lift it out, and yeah, stuff like that. Okay guys, that's basically all I have to say about this board. So basically, if you're a beginner, don't be afraid. My girlfriend is a beginner and she loves it. If you are going into off-road, and this is pretty good, it have relatively good spec. It's a 12S2P, I believe, or 14S2P. I'll put the information somewhere on the screen. But the most important thing about this is, like, if you are going off-road, if you want stability, and if you want mountain boards with straps that you can jump, well, this is probably one of the most affordable options there is in the market right now. And like I say, it's pretty good. Okay guys, if you have enjoyed this video, make sure to give it a like and comment in the section down below what you think about the Telum board, and I'll see you in the next one. Adios amigos.